Hello, podcast fans. Adam Carolla here. I'm leading the fight against patent trolls who are threatening this medium. It's not about me. It's about the podcast you're listening to right now. If I go down, this show could be next. So visit fundanything.com/patent troll for more information on how you can keep podcasting alive. Thank you and mahalo.
The following program is a PodcastOne.com production. PodcastOne.com presents the Ask Women Podcast. A place where two comics and a professional wing girl get together to dissect the female mind.
You don't know how I feel.
And explain it to men in terms they can actually understand. Booze. Now, here's the lovely ladies of Ask Women.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Ask Women podcast where you get real advice straight from the source. I'm Kristen Carney, one of your co-hosts, comedian, actor, etc. And we're here, of course, with Marni.
You're racing through it now.
Well, we have a lot of people to introduce.
So, yes, that's true. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
So we don't even need to introduce ourselves.
No, and Marni's here, so forget about her.
Exactly.
But we have a huge panel today of excellent advice givers.
Yes.
Relationship experts. So
otherwise known as experts.
Right. So I'm going to let you introduce everybody, and obviously them.
Actually, I'm going to let them introduce themselves because I think they're fantastic and they can do a better job than I can. But we have 5 experts with us, and we've never done an expert panel before. Typically, we have one expert or one comedian.
One idiot.
One idiot. Exactly, one moron. Yeah. And then 2 whores.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. So that, just joking, we're not whores. But yeah, so we have 5 experts with us today who are fantastic and wonderful, who I've known for pretty much a very long time, actually, and who I trust to give you the best advice possible. So let's go to Marni first.
The other Marni.
Also known as the other Marni. Hello, ladies.
Hi.
So hello, men. So I'm Marni Batista with Dating with Dignity, and what I do is I help women who date the same guy over and over again with a different face and get a bad result to sort of stop and find someone amazing to love, right? So they're looking for men like you, and my best advice for you men who are listening is it's not rocket science. You have to be 10% better than 90% of the men out there, and you will be a standout knockout to the quality woman. So just a little nuance here and there, and you got it.
I love that. And next is Adam.
My name's Adam Lyons. I am we just had another guy just joined us.
Mr. Wygant walking in late.
David.
Hey, Wygant should be on time. Thank you, Fresh Laughs.
All of Marni's emails go to my spam.
He's saying Marni's emails go to his spam because he's a liar. Okay, we got it. Anyway.
Batista gets emails through, Seltzer gets emails through, Alan gets emails through.
There you go. So it's something's wrong with your emails. Okay, we're doing intros. Let's go to Adam.
So my name's Adam Lyons. I give out daily advice on my YouTube channel, which can be found at thedatingcoach.com.
And I was on it. It's a very good channel.
Thank you.
And he has a great audience.
Yeah, they're really great guys. It's a great audience. And one of the things that I love about it is everything I teach comes from the basis of real psychology. If I can't find an actual study that reinforces something or some experiment that has been done where we've seen positive proof that this technique works, then it's basically something that I won't teach. I train thousands of students myself in person all across the world, everywhere from Australia to Korea through to all over the United States.
Amazing.
And been doing it for a while now. So
amazing. And next is Kim.
Hello, I'm Kimberly Seltzer.
Who actually you've heard of before because she was on the show.
I was.
Yes.
And that was super fun.
Super fun. You were talking about single moms and dating and other things as well. But,
right.
Yeah.
And I'm a dating and makeover expert.
Yes.
So I come from kind of an inside-out approach, and I used to be a therapist, so I draw upon that to really, it's not just about feeling good, but looking good as well because it goes hand in hand. And I guess my advice comes from Coco Chanel, who I love, of course.
I love that.
And she says, dress poorly and people will notice your clothes. Dress well and people will notice you.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, I love notice your wallet.
That's a whole other podcast.
Plastic surgery with Coco Chanel.
All right. And next is Carol.
Hi, I'm Carol Allen with Love is in the Stars, and I'm a love coach and a Vedic astrologer. And lots of men out there know that women are often cuckoo for astrology.
Yes.
So my little tip for them would be to act like you're into it and ask her sign and then tell her something fabulous about it, even if you're making it up.
I thought you were going to say they're cuckoo if they're into astrology.
No. Oh, okay, I got it. They're cuckoo for astrology because they're geniuses.
Yes.
And David, of course, who's been on our show
who everybody should know because he's been on the show enough times.
David Wygant.
Yes, who's sitting in a short chair because he's being punished for being late.
I'm in a short chair. I am now a midget. All my stuff comes from a lifetime of experience seducing, chasing women since I was obsessed with them since I was 7 years old. Living with them, like ridiculous. The movie about last night that just came out again.
Yeah.
That was like my dream to go live with a girl when I was 23
Sandwich
years old.
night.
Sandwich night, exactly.
Oh my God, I wanted sandwich night.
Every damn marriage I've had, right? Everyone I've ever lived with and so forth. And like Adam, we both teach the same thing. It's just external. It's confidence.
Yeah.
It's like being a real man. Did you guys see today that story of that woman who's sitting next to a guy in first class on American Airlines?
No, what?
And the guy was too much of a pussy to ask her out. So then she, of course, didn't give up her number. So she got on Twitter and decided to tweet in order to go find this guy because this guy didn't step up to the plate. And then through social media, he didn't really find out, but through a friend, he found out that she was looking and supposedly now they're dating. And it comes down to, as Adam and I would always talk about, wake up, guys, stop being such pussies.
Yeah.
A woman
You're
sitting
in
next to you in
first
the
class.
airplane in first class.
She's
talking to you.
She wants you already.
That's the 10% nuance. Like,
Yeah, that's
all
all
you
you
have
need.
to do, like, ask her out. Duh.
Absolutely. That's interesting that
No.
she was still interested in him even though he pussied out.
I tweeted her, by the way.
That's
Did you?
misconnections.
Oh, absolutely. I just said good for you as
Absolutely.
a woman to go take it in control, but
Yes.
bad for all, and I wrote about it, but bad for all the men. It just shows that all the men are just such pussies. It's like,
Yeah.
Adam, a dream would be sitting in first class and having a beautiful woman sitting next to us, right? I usually get the smelly guy with the bad breath who's like some corporate executive, okay, but I never get the hot, sexy,
Yeah, but you're in
beautiful
first
woman.
class. Bring your standards down a little bit. You've already made it. You don't need the hot
Yeah.
lady.
I used to change.
do.
No.
I used to change my seat. What I do is when I'm in the lounge, I try and find a girl that was sitting by her own, go and sit next to her, strike up a conversation. And they're like, you know what? They've probably stuck me in like some terrible seat next to some fat guy. 1 minute, I'm going to change my seat and sit next to you, and then I'll take
I
her,
like
move her
that.
up, and then switch it around. So I would guarantee that I'm sitting next to the hot girl.
I don't even get the hot girl on my plane. Ever.
There's only ugly people on your plane?
I have ugly people on my
Every time.
and I get celebrities on my plane because when I fly American to New York, I'll get the celebrity plane. But it's like the one time, and this is really funny. The one time there was an absolutely beautiful woman. She was in JFK, and I was like, oh, she's mine. I'm in business class. There's no way she is before me, right? There's no way she's first class, right? At all, right? I'm seeing the way she's dressed. She's just great. I sit in business class. I sit in my pod, and I'm just waiting for her to pass by, to wave, smile, start the interaction. And all of a sudden I look and she gets into first class and sits in the first row seats, and I think to myself, that is my luck in the air. Now I know next time I'm just going to tweet American Airlines, say,
Exactly.
hey, I was in pod 10C and you were in pod 1A. I didn't have the balls to cross the pod line because now they don't let you cross the pod
I
line
know.
at all. Like
It's not even
American
not
Wait a
having
second.
balls.
There's a bigger question to this whole thing. Why
Yeah.
are you in first class?
Me?
Yes. Are you making enough money in
Because
this career?
he's really tall.
Yeah.
You really are?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I need to get into this, you guys.
What do you think? I was doing this just because it's free? 'Cause
Well, I know
love
it's not
giving
free, but
advice.
I
It's
didn't
like,
know it
let's
was
be
first
poor.
class.
Okay, let's go hang out.
He's also like Bruce Silverman. He's a schmoozer. He knows how to work his
Yeah, he
way up
does.
to better positions.
I just flew back yesterday.
I don't pay. I don't pay for business. I could pay for business if I chose to pay for business. Okay, but I know the system to work to pay for business. So I basically work business in a certain way. But I'm not going to divulge it because people here want to learn about dating advice. They don't want to learn about David Wygant's system of how to get upgraded. That's all.
That's why I'm here.
Actually, if you want to find beautiful people on planes, the key is the Los Angeles to Las Vegas flight Friday to Sunday, because what you'll find is all the hot girls will leave on Friday
'Cause they
go to
work
Vegas
there.
for the weekend because they work there
Yes.
in the clubs to make their extra money on the weekend, then come back on the Monday. So yeah, if you want a really cheap commute, fly the LA to Vegas over the weekend.
And a really cheap girl.
I was going to say
Actually,
that,
yeah,
but I
actually-
didn't want to make an assumption.
Actually, they're not
Actually,
cheap.
they're not cheap at all. They're going to be some of the most expensive girls because they can afford to pay for their own things.
And a very expensive disease. Like cheap girl, expensive disease.
Exactly.
Necessarily.
All
The
right.
higher class girls may have the diseases because they've had to spread more often to go get the money. So it all
What is
depends.
going on here?
Anyway. Okay, so we're going to start with Analyze This because I brought you guys here. because you
segue.
are, yes, I know, just like a hurried segue to make it happen. But I brought you guys here because you are all experts in your own area, and we all have similar fields, obviously, and similar clients that we work with. But you are going to be able to give your expert take on these questions that we get from our listeners. So are you ready to analyze this?
So ready.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. So the first question is, how can you tell the difference between when a woman is testing you and when she just isn't feeling you? I get very confused with women who are testing. Women are so confusing, Trusan. So his main question is, what's the difference between testing and when she's not feeling it?
What's testing?
Wait, we got to clarify something, okay, because this is the pussification of men. Okay, men don't talk in I'm feeling when a woman is feeling me. It's like, what is this? These mama's boys running around with the feeling. Testing, it's like you're a man, you need to claim that woman. It's like almost like, as Adam, we know, it's like if a man comes to us and says, how come she's not feeling me? It's like,
Look, you know,
I think it's the response that the women give.
Yeah, I agree with David on this, but in the same lines, what difference does it make? You know, whether she doesn't like you or whether she's testing you. The point is,
what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, she's doing an action that is basically proving that she's not interested in you. So you have to step up to the plate. Exactly like David's saying, stop being a pussy and step up to the plate.
Well, I actually think sometimes when women are testing, depending on what a man defines as testing,
what's testing?
That means that she's actually into him. So it can be a broad spectrum, right? So a lot of guys are like, oh, I text this girl and she doesn't text me back. Is she testing me? That's not a test. That's when she's not feeling you. Other guys say, okay, I go up to a girl and she makes it hard for me to engage her, where she banters back with me, she's giving a sarcastic comment. That, I feel, is considered testing, because you're not just giving yourself to a man. So I think a lot of guys get confused on what's considered a test and when they should continue to pursue, and then when a woman isn't feeling them.
So it's like being aloof.
Yes,
right.
Versus
it's
being
sort of
not
testing.
interested.
And I feel like women are really clear. If they're not into you, they're going to look at their shoes, need to go change a tampon, and leave.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? And if she's interested, Kim's, really, we teach our clients, right? They're leaning in. They might be doing the banter or being playful and making it hard.
Or sarcastic.
Can we role play this so guys will actually know this? Because I think this.
Well, they can't see the body language, but
they can hear.
They can hear.
As the astrologer, I would love to just interject just a little bit to say that every woman is different, and we all have different personality types. When I met my husband, I looked at my shoes and I went to change a tampon. Okay, so I definitely looked at my shoes.
All right.
I don't remember the tampon
changing thing.
What shoes were you wearing?
Technique.
I know.
But I think,
are you going to leave me here, or are you going to change your tampon?
I think what men have to decide isn't what's the woman doing. Just like you guys were saying, it's what do they want.
Right.
So men, what do you want? And if you really feel a powerful connection, reject the woman's rejection. If you think she's rejecting you, override it, overrule it, do something cute. But I think women are more emotional the more into you they are. And that when women are freaking out, it's because they care. I used to show up at my husband's door at 2 a.m. freaking out and crying, and he'd be like, I'm sorry, what? Like, he would have no idea
same with me.
what was the matter with me. Right. So if a woman's never emotional with you, that's a problem.
I think that's a really good point. I had a client actually who this guy really pursued her, and she kept rebuffing him, not being aloof, but just saying, I don't think we're a match. And he responded by saying, let me decide that. Give this thing. So they just got engaged. And he was the only guy. She was a very strong, powerful woman. And he's the only one who just said, I'm not playing that game. I like you. We have a good time together. Let's go out again.
I did that to my husband for 5 months. I was like, we're just supposed to be friends. Nah, I'm not feeling it. He was like, you're scared. You're funny. And he totally wore me down.
But the guy pursued. The guy did not.
Me.
The guy was not.
Manhandled.
The P word. I can't even say it.
I want to just say something really quickly.
Yeah.
Do you?
Testing, I do.
You don't even have to be quick.
Test you, David.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because sometimes women test to feel. And there's a difference also between testing and teasing. And I tell women all the time, women want to know that men, you can handle them. And so they'll throw out a bone to see if you will fetch it. And if you can't and you're not man enough to fetch, goodbye. And she'll leave. And so I always say, kind of like what David's saying, man up. if she's teasing you, that's awesome. Like, go for it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's also what creates sexual tension and brings it to the next level.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, here's the thing that, thinking about all of this, guys often overcomplicate this. Like, he's got this thing like, they're so confusing. It's like, dude, just take a moment. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about trying to develop psychic skills or trying to actually predict what somebody is or isn't thinking. It comes right back to that simple thing of, at the end of the day, whatever the reason is going in her head, maybe she's consciously testing you, maybe she's not. Maybe she's had a bad day. Maybe she's just a comic and just likes being funny. Whatever the situation is, here's the way you have to deal with it. The way you've got to deal with it is, if you like this girl, if you think you want to make something happen, stop being a pussy, start talking to her.
Perfect. All right, question number 2.
Well, let me add something because that's really important. I always state your intentions as a man. If a woman walks away from you, look at her directly and go, wait, where are you going? I'm not done flirting with you yet. I'm not done with you yet. Get back here. I want to talk to you some more. It's like, state your intentions. These guys are so afraid to be a man. They're looking for so many clues. It's like, what are the clues? What are the clues? Well,
because they don't want to get rejected. So if that happens and she's not into you, right, she's going to walk away, and then at least you tried. So what? Move on. There's plenty of women.
There's no such thing as rejection. Rejection is for wimps. Go ahead.
Okay, question number 2. Good answer, though. Good answers, all of you. So thank you.
Thanks, teacher.
And thanks for not talking over each other. You guys are really good. You're obviously pros. How do I approach a woman without making her feel intimidated and more open to a conversation? I would like to make women feel comfortable when I first approach and talk to them. I'm hoping to find a good way to start a relationship with someone I feel attracted to. Average Joe. So how do you start a conversation, make a woman comfortable while still attracting her?
Get into her mindset. What is she doing? Relate to what she's doing in that moment. If you don't relate to what she's doing...
So what does that look like?
It's easy. Let's say she's in line at the market and she's got some funky cereal that you just had for breakfast. You can look at her and go, that's my favorite, man. How long have you been eating that for? Relate to what she's doing.
But don't say man.
No say man. Exactly.
Dude.
I speak on behalf of the women. Don't say dude or man.
But relate to her world. If, look at her emotions on her face. If she's looking back and forth at the muffins at Starbucks, darting back and forth, go, which one do you want? Relate to where she is. These guys break these women out of their spell and come up with something stupid. I just say hello, and smile. And
you're really good at that. I think the way I've read you saying it is look at the context of the environment, pick something that you can banter about, zero in on it and start a conversation. Yeah. So that way
listen, right?
Yeah, listen, and you can meet someone anywhere because we're all in the surrounding. And talk about the weather if you've got it.
This is why I love David. Like, literally everything David says, I'm always like, I was about to say exactly the same thing. or David would be like, Adam's totally thinking the same thing. I'm like, I am thinking the same thing. I started explaining it to the students that I work with. An easy way to think about this is, everyone's got that inner voice inside their head. And that inner voice is almost always being negative, saying bad things about things, all the time. It comes from the id, the ego, and the superego, and we won't get too into it right now, but the point is that there's a lot of conflict going on in that head. When you go up and you start talking to that girl, if it's not relating to what her head is already thinking, the brain's annoyed, and it's like, that little voice is like, this guy's just trying to hit on you. We've got a really important problem to solve here. We need to know which muffin we've got to pick. So this guy needs to go away right now, because this muffin problem has to be solved, and he's obviously just trying to sleep with us.
Because he's already picked his muffin.
Right. Where at?
Wait, what you said is so important. You said because he's obviously just trying to sleep with us. Yeah. I think so many women, they have their guard up, and that your writer person is really wanting to make her see, I really want to connect with you. I don't just want to sleep with you. So I think that's an important thing to understand.
Exactly. And then when you go in and instead you talk directly to the inner voice. I don't try and talk to the girl. I try and speak to that inner voice. So I try and think, what problem is her inner voice having? Where is that doubt coming from? And I'm going to help the inner voice. I'm going to aid it in whatever the problem is. And then
can you give me an example? So for example, if she's thinking he just wants to sleep with me, do you just say, I don't want to sleep with you?
No, actually.
No, I want to sleep with the muffin.
I'll stop it before that happening. So a good example is there was a girl the other day in a nightclub. One of my students was next to her, and the student's like, I don't know what to say. And I said, well, look at her face. And he goes, well, what? I was like, she's standing alone. She's not looking at her phone. She's looking down at her shoes, and she's fidgeting and shifting her weight from one foot to the other.
She has to change her tampon.
I was like, this is a girl, her feet are tired.
Ew.
She doesn't have any of her friends with her, so they've probably all ditched her because they're going off and talking to other guys right now. She's not looking at her phone, so this isn't just boredom. This is actually almost like a depression, tiredness. She wants to go home.
No, I feel sad for her.
Right, exactly. So the key there is you start relating, what is her inner head thinking? Her inner head is thinking, maybe I should just get out of here. Where do I want to be? I want to be at home. So at that point, I would walk straight up to that guy and I'd be like, you know what, sometimes don't you just rather be at home rather than staying in a place like this? Mm-hmm. And the inner voice instantly just says, yes.
See, you're training them what I do too. It's like listen to their inner head and forget about their inner head.
Yes.
Because all the guys are always talking about their inner head, and it's so easy. It's like, and men don't realize that women talk to their inner head nonstop too. I mean, you saw yesterday I talked to a group of women. One of them had beautiful eyes. I just walked over and go, my God, your eyes are ridiculous. I told her exactly why, right? And I saw her light up, right? But then I watched her friend's inner head. Oh, she always gets hits on and I don't, right? And I thought immediately, I said to myself, this is going to go down really bad in the next 30 to 45 seconds, right? Because she's going to feel her friend's energies, right? And I picked up and I even looked at her friend and I go, but your eyes are beautiful too. And all of a sudden, it's like it changed everything. It's like, look at what's around you. We're natural, intuitive creatures, okay? We are naturally intuitive. If you look at a child, a 3-year-old kid will walk up to you and go, hey, mister, man, you got some booger in your nose, right? And they know how to get into your mindset. It's like, but people have taught themselves, and Adam and all you guys know, they listen to their own negative crap all day, and you can't. You have to just literally pick someone else's feelings and go for it.
I want to actually address the question because I thought it was so interesting. He's asking about feeling intimidated, and I just is he intimidated? Because when a guy is intimidated, he's asking if the woman is, but I'm just wondering if he's feeling that, or if he's anxious. Because if you are anxious or if you're intimidated, guess what? She's going to be too.
Well, that's that mindset of I hope I'm not bothering you.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys get worried about either coming across as creepy, a rapist, or whatever it is that the negative associations women have with men. He's afraid of that. But most likely, if he's putting that word intimidated in, he probably is feeling his own emotions.
Exactly.
Rather than feeling hurt.
I mean, I guess that's where I would start with this particular guy. Is what about that is intimidating? What does that mean for him? And then kind of moving on to what you guys are saying, it's coming from a place from authenticity. It's like, David, you took the words again right out of my mouth too, only because we've worked together for so long. It's not a surprise. It's the kid thing. Kids, they see each other. They don't have any filter. They want something, they go after it. They're curious about something. It's no different when you're approaching a woman. If you're curious about it and you're coming from a place from authenticity, then she's gonna respond, and it's gonna be a good response.
I think people in general do that. So I was at the gym this morning. I was in spin, and I was,
You were where? When?
At Equinox, where we go to the gym together. I went earlier because I knew that I was coming here. I got in there 9. I
was there.
Oh, really? Maybe I did see you. Anyway, separate from that, you're not
Look
the guy
at that.
I picked
Now, if
up.
I was an insecure guy, I'd feel all tweaked. It's like, oh my God, I flirted with you the other day. You flirted back with me, and now you ignored me.
And now you're talking about me on a radio show.
I'm
exactly.
rejected.
But so I was in my spin class, and I was working my conversation muscle. I was talking to other people in the class, and suddenly this guy came and sat down beside me who was super cute, who I recognized from a TV show that I watched, who I wasn't sure if he actually was from a TV show because, living in Los Angeles, you're like, do I know you from the ice cream shop and you're behind the counter, or are you a huge celebrity? You have no idea. So I said to him, I was like, are you on TV? You look so familiar. And he's like, oh, yes, I am. I'm on the originals. And I was like, oh, I love that show. And I just started talking to him because I didn't care about getting anything from him. I was just making an observation. I was being open.
That's what's awesome about being married, I gotta tell you.
Yeah.
I talk to men all the time. I'm more of a flirt now.
Oh, me
you
too.
have this shield of protection. It's awesome.
Yeah.
See, Marni, I think your perfect line isn't actually the one you went with. And this is what I tell my students all the time. The best line you could have used was, hey, you know what's really funny? I've been looking at you for a while, and I'm convinced I know you from somewhere. And the problem in LA, and I would have literally just used your internal dialect to create the opening line.
Oh, absolutely.
And
I said that part after.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
but yes.
I try and get all my students to do that. If you say exactly what you're thinking, it's usually the best line. It's usually the
just
exact
spit it out of your
perfect thing
mouth.
to say.
Oh, that's a good one. I think people should write that down and remember it.
Thank you.
Yeah, but that's what it's all about. But that's what it's all about. Your first thought is your best thought because that's the only one that you really had. The rest of it, you're going to own those words. That's your authoritative thought inside your brain.
They try and tweak it afterwards and perfect it, but it's actually perfect in the original setting that you would place it in, whatever you're saying in your
basically
head.
Basically, trust the id because it knows what it wants, and then after that, the ego and the super-ego start regulating it and changing it and destroying it.
And then Adam knows from teaching boot camps like me. It's like we will go up and talk to a woman, and we'll come back to the guys. What did you say? I said, I thought you were hot, and I wanted to go talk to you. They go, you were able to do that? And then another thing will be like, well, what did you say to her? And it's like, I walked over and said, you got a great routine at the gym right now. It's like, I'm really impressed. That worked for you? It's like, what works is because our first thought, and this is what goes back to, as everybody knows when you have children, your first thought is your natural instinct, but we've been berated not to think anymore. We've been berated to overthink. I mean, I have an email right here, sitting here from a woman who's like, before I contacted you, this other dating expert said this, and then I just decided. It's paralysis by analysis. People can't even make a decision anymore. They have to Google it nonstop.
Well, and I got to tell you, the more beautiful a woman is, I hear from beautiful women all the time that nobody ever comes up to them, and nobody ever compliments them, because men think, oh, I won't have a chance with her. Oh, I'll just totally be shot down. What am I kidding? And then they overlook her and go to the less attractive woman next to her. And so, raise your standards, guys. Go for it, because those women are starving.
Can we give this guy, so you make the approach, right? And then I feel like guys are always wanting to know, what do you talk about? Right? Like, what do you talk about? So I always feel like women, first of all, feel like men aren't really interested in them. They just want to achieve someone, right? So I would say listen and sort of create a conversation or share what you really care about. Like, create rapport by being... But
Marni,
right?
do you know why the guys don't listen? It's because they're so nervous. Okay,
they're trying to figure out
they got over their approaching. To them, they just delivered themselves there. They're so happy that they're standing there at this moment now.
But generally,
so they can't believe that they've actually done it.
There's a limit. So I spoke at a fraternity, which is I'm fascinated that this stuff starts when you're like 19. And
earlier.
Earlier. But these guys were like, so we have this fraternity party and these girls come in and like they're standing in a circle and we don't know how to break the circle and we just wanted to have in the end, whether they go home with us or not, we really want people to come into our house and have a good time. And I think that's really a real serious nice guy. He just wants to make her feel comfortable so that she has a nice time. So I would love to know what you guys think. Like, what else can this guy say after he makes the approach?
Listen. They don't listen. It's not even. It's the words. The words that you say. That's what a conversation is. That's what I tell guys all the time. They're not fucking aliens. It's like they're human beings. Talk to them as you talk to any other human being. Respond to the words. Yeah. That's the problem with the men. They don't respond to the words.
Because my husband was a big man slut. He was an actor and a musician, and he was super cute. Okay, in his 20s.
He still is cute.
He's very cute. Thank you very much. And he, he got into the triple digits. Like a good man should, right?
Triple digits.
So I said to him, and I finally said to him after knowing him like 15 years, so what was your move? Like, what did you do exactly? And he said, honestly, I would just listen. I would just get them to talk about what mattered to them, what they were excited about. I actually cared. I actually focused on them and made them feel like I was paying attention.
Yeah. And then you add on. They're going to give you all the information. I want to get on to question 3.
Okay, go.
Because I knew this was going to go, but we're only going to get 4 questions answered. Actually, Art, I'll ask you, how much time do we have until the break? 4 minutes. Perfect. Okay, so question 3. How come my girlfriend gets mad when I disagree with her and wants to break up with me, but she loses attraction when I agree with her?
Get a new girlfriend.
Exactly. It's like, seriously, like, really?
No, wait, hang on, wait. This is a classic mistake that we're making. I see this with my students all the time.
Yes, it is.
The question is, what is she getting mad about that he's disagreeing with? Because that actually speaks volumes.
Yes.
Because if he's just disagreeing with like what her choice is for breakfast, then that's totally understood why she'd get mad about that, because he's kind of trying to control her. And then if he just agrees with her and he's just passive the rest of the time, then yes, that would lose attraction. And guys, they fixate on certain details, like what are the exact words I should be saying, but then when it comes down to things that are actually really important, they generalize. And I find that when they're generalizing is when you need to get specific. I had a student ask me literally 3 days ago, so Adam, after I proposed, my girl refused to speak to me ever again. And he goes, I don't know what I did wrong. How do I get talking to her again? And I started thinking about different ways. I was like, I want to ask you a very serious question. He said, okay. I was like, were you dating before you proposed? And he says, well, no. I was like, right, well, there's the problem. And so sometimes you do have to read into the question. So actually, I would actually say to a student at this point, I won't answer that question until I know what the problem is.
Right.
Sounds like two egos clashing too. And not really listening to each other.
But
trying to be right. There's so many things.
Well, no, I hear it the same way that Adam hears it, because I hear that there's something that says he's not understanding me. You're disagreeing for something I really care about, or you're not open to a conversation, and you're closed off, and you're judging me, and probably how she's feeling. I don't know if it's actually happening. And then you're just being agreeable on other things that are really important to me and being passive.
No, but Marni, even deeper, love language.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? It's like they don't even understand each other's love language. So they're already, it's not what you're disagreeing about. The only reason why a relationship is frustrating is because you're not filling each other's love language. You're not fulfilling each other's needs, wants, and desires. So then when conflict comes up, that's your opportunity to go and go off on that person. And it's never about what the conflict is. It's always about what you're not getting met.
Yes, and for sure. For
and
both
when you're
scenarios,
astrologically compatible,
yes, exactly.
these things just naturally flow.
Exactly. No, but for this question, I think it comes down to communication so that you can understand where she's coming from. Just say, last time that we talked about X, Y, and Z, and I disagreed with you, can you let me know what I did wrong? Because you got upset, and I really care. I want to know why you're bothered by this and what we can do to make this situation better, so that you give each other rules. Because as you were saying, even with love language or just like combining two people together, you have to understand another human being. I'm going to work very differently from all of you and vice versa. We're going to have different understandings of who we are, how we answer questions, how we respond to things.
Well, how we interpret.
And how we interpret.
But how we interpret the situation.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing is, I think in arguments with couples, we have a tendency to need to be right. Yeah. So we stop hearing what it even is, and we're just so attached to being right about this is the way to go, or you should get your ticket now, that we forget trying to solve the problem.
Well, and I wasn't actually kidding when I said if you're astrologically compatible,
right?
Because I do this technique that's been used for centuries to arrange marriages. It's from India. It's way beyond like, hey, Aquarius, you're good with Sagittarius.
Yeah.
It's so complicated and deep, and one of the things it shows is things like, can you agree? Can you have fundamental affinity? Do you get each other? Is there a foundation of friendship? Can you communicate? And so people will say to me, I've never been so angry all the time with someone. I've never been so sensitive all the time with someone. I've never been so insecure all the time with someone. And that'll be literally in their connection or disconnection. And so what I want to say to the men listening is, listen, if you have a woman that every time you try, there's some misfire, even if she's awesome, there's something off between you. You're literally like oil and water, because there's you, there's her, but then there's the system of the relationship that has its own frequency that's greater than the sum of its parts. And sometimes you're just working way too hard and it's never going to work.
It's just not a match.
I have testimonial for Carol. I'm not allowed to have a relationship until I email. Literally, I will email her, and she will. She has nailed my last two relationships so perfect.
Really?
And she told me exactly.
She said they're crazy.
She told me
runaway.
exactly why I would get frustrated in both of them, and she was 100% right.
Oh, yeah. So she helped me and my fiance get back together because she told me that we had that fundamental thing and that the other stuff wasn't important. So
really,
what's your website? How can I find out more about you?
Loveisinthe.stars.com. So men, send all your women to me.
Yeah,
I love it. Well, we're going to take a break and we're going to come back and do more Analyze This. But you guys have been fantastic. What else do we have to say before the break? Nothing. Just come back and listen. Hey guys, it's Marni. Buying a car is a not so fun experience for most people, and it doesn't have to be. At TrueCar.com, they'll help you get rid of the fear that you may overpay. You know when you'll get a fair price because they show you what others paid for the car you're looking for. TrueCar.com analyzes what people are paying for their cars in their market and shares it with consumers so that they never have to overpay. Over 40,000 cars were sold by TrueCar certified dealers just last month. Users see an average savings of $3,046 off MSRP. TrueCar certified dealers go through a certification process, and you work directly with a TrueCar representative that will honor your savings. TrueCar certified dealers believe that truth and transparency are essentials to a better buying experience. First, go to TrueCar.com and find out what others pay for the same vehicle in your market and around the country. Second, register at TrueCar.com to see upfront pricing information and lock in your savings certificate. And the third step is simple. Just print out your certificate and take it to the TrueCar certified dealer for a better hassle-free buying experience. TrueCar has the most comprehensive new car pricing information available and a certified network of dealers that offers a hassle-free car buying experience and negotiation-free guaranteed savings. Support the Ask Women podcast and shop at TrueCar.com.
Have you ever been conned by a contractor? I'm Adam Carolla. Before I was a beloved celebrity, I used to work construction. I worked as a master carpenter. I got a new show on Spike called Catch a Contractor, where we help families who've been screwed by crappy contractors. My team and I track down these dirtbags and bring them back to face the families they shafted to finish the job right. Time to hammer home some justice, baby.
Catch a Contractor. New episode Sunday at 10, 9 Central on Spike.
You're listening to the Ask Women podcast, a Podcast One presentation.
Whatever.
Welcome back to the Ask Women podcast. I'm chewing as I'm trying to introduce everybody. We're back. We're doing Analyze This. We're with 5 amazing experts, and we have more questions. Okay.
As soon as she finishes.
You hungry?
And
I have
you
peanut bread. Horrible.
You haven't eaten like 20 minutes.
No, seriously. Okay, I have a couple of questions about facial gestures, mainly eye contact. What should I do with my eyes during a conversation with a woman I want to be interested in me? People only go over gazing from across a room or a bar, but they don't go over what to do in conversation. So what's the best approach
can I say this?
for your eye contact?
Watch, what is it? Christina Vicky Barcelona, right? What's the name of that movie? The Woody Allen movie, right?
Yeah.
When Javier Bardem walks over to Scarlett Johansson and the other one, right? And has full-on eye contact and basically propositions them to go away to Oviato for the weekend and have great sex and never ever wavers eye contact.
He's like, we'll make
I don't
love.
understand
We'll go on a plane.
Eye contact. Yeah, we'll go on a plane. We'll have great eye contact is the most beautiful thing in the world. And eye contact is, to me, keep it. I mean, when I walk over to a woman, I'm like, first off, it's like, I own you, you're mine. I'm going to go stare at you, and we're going to have this eye contact game, and I'm not going to look at my feet. But I watch these guys, they're looking down at the ground, and it's a known fact, and Adam knows this too. It's like, whenever a man looks up and above, it's like it says that he's lying or trying to create a story. It's like eye contact. It's a trust thing that you're building. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, eye contact is something that I think we lack in this culture. We're so afraid to look at one another, and it's such a turn on. Watch any romantic comedy, and the eye contact's right there. Women are just going, oh, they're like fawning.
That's what gives us butterflies. Like, if there's chemistry and you actually hold her gaze in a conversation for a second, for me, that's just the and I think that happens for women. I like
that noise. Do it again.
Yeah.
But what about some guys? Because to really understand eye contact, because I could look at you like this, and I'm making my eyes pop out of my head, and I'm very intense, and I'm focused on you.
Yes.
Which I'm sure doesn't feel very nice, even though you know me.
But also, what people can't see is your eyebrows are up, your brow is furrowed, which is very different.
You're
from
smiling.
Just
right. So what's the advice to give to them on how to
Smile with your eyes.
Yes, smile.
And those guys who get all in their head, they don't know what to say, then just look at her. And you have us.
I want to hear what Adam has to say, because I know that there's a method for breaking away an eye contact.
I actually have a specific program called the Signs of Attraction.
Oh, cool.
And through that, it's based on a study that was done by Moore in 1985, where they analyzed 200 females in singles bars, and they identified 52 different behaviors. Specifically, the ones that are relating that we're going to care about are things known as the 3 glances.
Mm-hmm.
And they noticed there were 3 distinct eye patterns of movement that women would do when they were interested in somebody. The first one was just classified as a type 1 glance. Type 1 glance is the girl is not focused on looking at her friends. Instead, she's looking around the bar. Now, she's not looking at any particular guy. She's just looking around in general. And what this basically is saying is that she's losing interest with the people that she's talking to, or is more interested in meeting somebody else but hasn't decided who yet. In that situation, she hasn't decided she wants you to date her specifically, but she wants somebody to approach, so you should approach. Glance 2 is a similar kind of thing, except she'll occasionally lock eye contact with you. Often it'll be accompanied with a very brief smile, but not always. In a type 2 glance, she's essentially saying, I'm interested in people, you caught my eye, maybe not necessarily, but possibly you. Either way, the response should be to go over and approach her because she's looking. Finally, the type 3 glance, which is the one that most people talk about, which is where you get direct eye contact, held, sustained, with a smile. That's an invitation for approach. In fact, most psychologists would agree that that is the equivalent of a female walking up to you and saying, hey, you should hit me, you should hit on me.
You should punch me in the face.
You should hit on me, you should try and pick me up. And that is literally the equivalent of a female opening a line. And in fact, if you approach a woman and have not received either one of those 3 glances, then your success rate is dramatically decreased no matter what you say.
Well, and I'm a research girl too. I love that Adam backs everything up with data. So 80% of relationships are started by the woman
initiating,
sending a signal in some way. So I agree. Guys, look for the woman who's sending.
Yeah, but let's flip it. The question is about what he should do with his eye contact.
But here's something that's important. A lot of guys will hear this and go, we just confirmed a lot of their fears, okay? Yeah. And to me, it's like I love everything that you said, and I agree with it, okay? For somebody like you and I who are very perceptive, okay, it's game on. So we walk on and we're like being playful. And to me, a woman wants to experience a man. It's like they don't want to be open. They want to be experienced. They want to feel. They want to have some type of emotion thing. And the fact of the matter is there's nothing more powerful than not looking for anything and you making that determination as a man, you are mine. and just, I will open up a woman who doesn't even look at me and start talking to her.
Yeah, I always say
it's
the only sign you need is the one in your head saying, I want her.
Exactly. Because otherwise we overanalyze things so much. And and number three, and number three takes a very secure, playful, sexual woman who's looking for her equal, right? Who's looking for her equal, and she's only going to accept her equal. So you or I see that, we're like,
it's on.
Oh, it is.
But let's talk more about his question, because the question is, what does he do? So those are great things to say, like what a woman's eye contact is doing. But what does he do?
He should look at her.
Look
I
at her,
remember
like I said,
when I first saw my fiance, and I did the
But
little
he's talking
glance.
about in conversation.
Yeah, so I did the little glance thing, and then he held my eyes, and then I was like, this is like awkward, but I kept looking, and then he kept looking at me, and he's like, hi, I'm Jeremy. Nice to meet you. Right? And he kept looking at me, and then it wasn't awkward, and then when you feel rapport, you get out of your head and you stop thinking, where should my eyeballs focus right now?
Yeah. Well,
right?
I can say as a woman, for me, to keep me intrigued and engaged, yes, it's wonderful to have great eye contact, but when a man breaks the eye contact and looks away, whether he's like scouring the room, I don't want him like checking out other girls and watching him watch her walk, but when he looks away and breaks eye contact with me, that's when I'm like, okay, I have to step up my game. It makes me want him more. If he's totally into, and this is for younger girls as well, maybe not for older women, but like guys who want to be more playful with their conversation and with their eye contact and conversation, they don't have to be fully focused the entire time. It's okay to break away.
Really
don't look at her boobs.
Yeah.
I
was just going to say, because
do
I
not
want to talk
look at
about
her
the creep factor.
Yeah, do not look at her
There's the
boobs.
guy in the corner who's just staring.
Yes.
and
He's
stares
masturbating in his head.
and stares, and then he comes up to her and says, "Hi." That's not good.
Right, with those eyes.
With the eyes, it's like what you were saying, with the eyes like totally open versus one that's smiling. And you're literally like, it's kind of almost like a squint and a warmness in your eyes.
Exactly. Like the big eyes that you're showing is it feels like you're looking right through me.
Yes.
When you make those eyes, it's
Because
like
the
I see
intention-
your vagina. Like
How
that.
about,
Like
how
that's
about his
Just creep me
mindset
out.
should be this, and this
Right.
is with
What's his
Marni. His
intention?
mindset is this. When I walk up to a woman, I think all the time, my God, I want to floss with her tampon. It's mine. I'm going to pull that thing out. It's a sexual, going back to the tampon thing, but it's a sexual thing that a lot of guys.
He's trying to make it all full circle.
But,
That didn't
but
work.
it's a
Where's
sexual,
the comedian? That's like a comedy faux pas.
It's a sexual energy that these guys don't have, okay? And the fact of the matter is that when you walk over to a woman, we're just primal beings. That's all we are, cavemen and cavewomen. So when I tell a guy to walk over, just picture that you are the key to her having the best orgasm she's ever had. And if
But
you
I don't
can't
think
smile
I'm
that
disagreeing with you. I don't go out when I was single, and I didn't go like, God, I want to meet a guy to give me the best orgasm ever.
It's not you. It's the men who have no sexual energy. It's not. I'm talking
but
about
I
women.
wouldn't
Okay.
want to be pursued by a guy. I felt.
But it's a twinkle and a smile in their eyes. It's nothing else.
He's trying to give
these
the
guys
men
are
the
blocks
mindset
of
that
ice when they
gives-
walk
yeah.
over. They don't create any emotion in you. So if they've got some type of sexual energy, and if you've coached these guys and you've come to a boot camp, 90% of these guys walk around with zero sexual energy. So giving them some type of sexual energy makes it playful.
you can play that down a little bit. Like I tell guys to think in their
don't
head,
play it
like,
down.
okay, I know you want me. I want
that's
you.
totally different.
And that's
You're-
what's going on inside your head. So you have that small smile on your face
it's the
while you're
confidence and
talking.
sexual energy. But I feel like I can tell the difference. You guys, ladies, can back me up. If a guy comes on to me with the too overt energy of like, I want to bed you.
Right.
It gives a lot
makes
of
me
women
uncomfortable.
the creeper
So
effect.
I think you guys are actually saying the same thing. It's just from different experiences.
Right.
So David's dealing with people who are so far to the left,
Right.
That when you
Or the right brain.
they're so far to the wrong side of the brain that when he says you should go all the way over here, they end up in the middle. Whereas the guys that you've got experience with are the guys that were too far on the other
They're
side.
too
of the
far.
beginning.
We bring them back the other
And those guys
direction.
we bring back.
Thank God. They just all need to go talk to David and Adam. And
There you go. And me. Come on,
Actually-
Marni.
of course.
Actually,
Other Marni, stop leaving me out.
Exactly.
In terms of eye contact when you're actually in conversation, something that I found that helps, and I actually learned this, I did this whole qualification thing through the body language school, and one of the big things that can help with eyesight, I love what you said about smile with your eyes, but a really powerful thing to do is actually, if you lock eye contact, smile and tilt your head to the side, it creates a very non-aggressive smile. It doesn't
puppy
look
dog.
creepy. Yeah, exactly. It's the slight tilt of the head, and actually you'll find most...
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, most guys who are natural with women will tilt their head to the side as they approach and talk to her. So a smile and a head tilt helps.
Well,
Look down
and
a
what
little
David
bit, come
said
up and smile.
about
So George Clooney, glance down, glance up.
You get it.
What David said about wanting to floss with a woman's, anyway. NPR had the craziest, This American Life had the craziest podcast on a woman who became transgender and became a man. She actually got the hormones and the surgery and the whole night. So she had been a lesbian and she'd been totally into women and totally into sex before, but on testosterone, she could not believe her brain. She said her brain became a constant porn site. And she was so shocked as someone who had a brain that before was like, oh, that woman's attractive. Oh, I like her dress. Oh, who was suddenly like seeing constant porn.
Really?
And so she said, ladies, we have no idea as women what men think and what they go through and how they can't even help it and how their minds are just like sex. So anyway,
That was
David's not
fascinating.
so
Interesting. Okay, so Matt,
you, Carol.
Matt, I hope that answers your question. All right, on to the
take
next
care of each
question.
other.
I would like to know if it's possible for an older man and a beautiful younger woman to be in love.
Here it comes.
Does he have money?
Of course.
Does he look like, is he a good-looking guy, or is he a typical older guy that comes around with the, when he's got the comb over, and he's 35, 40 pounds overweight, and he says, I'm only attracted to women that are 30 years younger. Well, they got to be attracted to you, dude, and they haven't been attracted to you ever. It's like this male fantasy that these guys have. They all want to be Clooney, they all want to be Bond, but they look like Elmer Fudd. And the fact of the matter is, it's like a woman is... It's all about attitude. It's like not about this is where these guys are so outcome derived to the end game. They don't think that women exist in this equation at all. They don't even respect a woman's attractive choices at all. So they just want this piece of ass because they've never had it, and they're still looking for validation from when they were 22 years old and they were the nerdy accountant and they were jerking off way too many times and they had to marry the first girl that came their direction. They spit out the kids and then they're still the same nerd, but they're still this frustrated guy that really wants that validation of that beautiful woman, and they need to grow up just a little bit.
So, Marni, what do you think?
No, I think, I'm not an ageist.
Okay.
So I believe that there are some older men who are really have a lot of vitality, and they are smart, and
Sex
they
appeal. Come on, tell it like it is.
No. They take care of themselves, and then I don't know if a 25-year-old is going to want to date a 70-year-old, but I think that there's plenty of women in their 50s that would want to date someone that was...
I think there's plenty of women in their 40s that would want to date a 70-year-old.
as long as I feel like it's all about vitality and mindset.
Yeah,
right.
I
So if
agree.
you
And ball length. You don't want
Marni's
to
are on the same page
And
with this.
connection.
Yeah.
What about
well,
you, Kim?
that's sort of obvious, but I feel like so many people, men and women, rule out because of age or income or all these things that have nothing to do with who they are as a person and their connection. So I would say, sort of like Adam was saying, there's a lot of extraneous circumstances we don't know the answers to. But if everything else is in order, then the answer would be sure, why not?
Absolutely.
And really just listen to Howard Stern, because he has panels like that all the time where the chick is 23 and the guy's 68 and he doesn't have money in their mouth.
Right, exactly. I think it's totally possible. So, Adam, what do you think?
I mean, look, this is one of those ones, again, you look at the question, it's like the easiest thing to answer, and actually we have the tools around this table right now to answer it. The question is it possible for an older man and a beautiful woman to be in love? Just, is that possible?
Yes.
And it comes down to, and I hate to throw this guy under the bus, but David, has a younger woman ever been in love with you, and have you been in love with her?
Yes.
There we go. That's the
There you
answer.
go.
Yes, it's possible.
Simple
100%.
answer.
David
Okay.
is living proof. And
So there you go, Jerry.
You wouldn't think he was older, but in the nicest way, with all respect. David is older.
But it's also
and
it's also it's their confidence in their mindset. It's not the trophy, and they look at it as a trophy. And this question is trophy based. This question is not emotionally based. This is the guy, and just from my experience and Adam's experience and Marni's too, and Kim's and all of us, it's like this is the frustrated guy, that's been frustrated for 30 years and really wants that trophy. Finally, it's not about. To me, I mean, I've had no problem acquiring women my entire life. I was talking to some woman the other day that was 24, and I realized it's like, you're really cute and stuff, but you said something that was very 24, like she was going to go celebrate St. Patrick's Day and she was Persian, and I was thinking to myself, God, you're young, you're cute, and I just lost interest in you. So it's like, and I don't need the trophy. So it's a matter of what you really want. What's your objection to it? Are you looking for real love because it's based on who that person really is, or are you looking for it because of a superficial need to bang a younger woman to validate yourself to your troop of guys, okay?
Well, because you want to have sex with somebody who has boobs that stay up and a tight ass.
But the women want to have sex with somebody whose balls aren't stapled to their knees, you know? I mean, so... Like it works.
I don't think it's always a trophy situation.
I don't think so either. And by the way, if you're that guy and you haven't been with that woman, and it's going to make you feel more confident to go out and bang a bunch of hot young women, go do that. And then when you're bored of it, like David was talking about, and you want to play with a grown up, then go do that.
Like I genuinely believe, and like I'm a dating coach myself, and I genuinely believe anyone who is like an older guy that like you should just do everything you can to listen to everything David Wagon says. Like he's like if I am half as attractive.
So if you're so here's the message: if you're old, listen to David Wagon.
And if you're young,
it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Same thing, but he's dead.
Perfect. All right, here is a question from Aaron from San Jose. Hi, ladies and other assorted peoples. Love the show, longtime listener. I will readily admit that I'm not the most attractive guy and had a hard time meeting women. Finally, I have met an awesome gal and have been dating her for 6 months. My question for you is that since I have started dating her, I have noticed that other women have been flirting with me, similar to what Carol was talking about before, having that ring. Exactly, that ring. Have been flirting with me at a much higher rate than while I was single. Yeah. And while I have no intention of cheating at all, I find it both perplexing and amusing why this is so. How come this seems to be the case, and how can single guys use this information to help them out? Aaron from San Jose.
So
Aaron's a nice
That's
guy.
so kind of Aaron.
He wants to spread the love.
This question is actually literally hits right on the entire principle of that I came out with when I first started teaching this stuff, and the thing that I noticed, which was pre-selection. I became obsessed with it, and I found every single scientific study, and one of my favorite studies that I found was this guy, the psychologist, I forget his name right now, but he found, he got a photograph of a man and went up to women and said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how attractive is this man? He got the results came in.
That's Tinder now.
Yeah, you're right.
Exactly.
Well, he got the same photograph and went up to a different group of women and said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how attractive is this married man? And he gained 2 additional points on where he was. So if it was a 6, went up to an 8. And the reason I know this study so is because we duplicated it and we did it ourselves and found exactly the same results. Guys would go from a 6 to an 8, from a 7 to a 9. It was almost always. So, pre-selection is worth like 20% of your overall total attractiveness to a female.
I got to add to that. I mean, there was this woman I was talking to in the gym today, so there was other woman that was there.
Do you work out at the gym?
Yeah. So I said, I said, I don't look this damn good without working out. So I was talking to this woman.
He walks at a 2 incline on the
very funny. So I'm talking to this woman, and there was this other woman that I didn't know. I said, I don't know her. I said, who is she? And she started telling me. She said, she's an ex-party girl. She's getting married to this guy. She found this dream guy. I said, why is he a dream guy? Oh, God, when she went over to his house for the very, very first time, he had pictures of him and his kids all over the walls. And she fell, it's like, and I walk around with my daughter, and it's like people will stop and go, like this. It is, you go up. When you can show a sign of being a committed man, that it starts with the puppy, and then it starts with the being a divorced guy, which isn't bad, and then having a child and being a good dad. It's like you're showing a woman that you're actually a committed person. That's why you become so much more attractive.
Well, that's half of it. But also what Carol was talking about before. It's like it gives you this freedom because you're like, okay, I'm taken already. It's this extra boost of confidence saying I'm not that invested in you. I won't be crushed if you don't say yes
reaction
to me.
When you were reading the question of the panel was, oh, well, the guy's happier now and he's more confident now and he's not coming off as desperate and needy. Right. So he's got a better spring in his step than he
So
had
how do other single guys use this information to help them out? So exactly what you guys just said. Don't express neediness. Don't express eagerness. And try and be a little bit calm, cool, and collected. So instead of having another significant other...
Yeah, it's so much easier than
just
that.
Go into pick a restaurant you're going to go into every single day, sit at the counter, have lunch, flirt with all the waitresses, start talking to people, and then all of a sudden you have all the social
build a good life that you're happy about.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the satisfaction with another person. You can have a satisfaction by having a cool life and with others.
Exactly. I want to say when I go out with people and I coach like David and Adam, and I see it in action, there's an energetic thing that happens. It's push rather than pull, and pull rather than push. And what I tell people all the time, the reason why they're not attracting a lot of people is that they're chasing after it. They're going at, there's this sense of like this hunt that's going on. That's not attractive. When you are solid within yourself, you attract people and you pull it to you. And even in the body language, you can see it. So when a guy is committed or that letting go, there's a relaxation that's happening in the body that pulls people to you. And you see it just like in parties all the time. It's just an energetic thing.
I actually cheat. I do a similar thing to David, but I sort of like went a step further, and now I befriend lipstick lesbians on purpose. And when I go out to a bar, I don't go out with guys. In general, actually, I don't really like guy company. I much prefer female company. So I'll befriend a group of lipstick lesbians, and I'll go and hang out with them. And so when women meet me in a bar, they'll think I'm a couple, and they'll think it's me and the girl. And then throughout the conversation, she'll talk about her girlfriend. And she'll go, wait, I thought you guys were together. I go, no, God, it's my really good friend. She's got a girlfriend.
Touching you the whole time.
Yeah, and I've already, and it's over. And that's what I do, and I start preaching.
See, there you go. That's what people should do.
You can actually turn a woman's attraction switch. If she's not attracted to you at first, and then she sees you, just like the little 4-year-old sees you with other women. She could be a 30-year-old woman, and all of a sudden she starts going, oh my God, it's like she'll start flirting and touching you and flirting and touching you. It's just, everybody wants what everybody else wants.
Oh, for sure. Okay, here's the last question from Trent. Okay, so I have a question. One of the girls I had a one-night stand with, I would like to get to know better. I haven't talked to her in about a week, so to me, for some reason, it would seem a bit awkward reaching out to her again. But is there a correct way to go about asking her out without it being awkward? Because it seems like we already skipped a step, if you know what I mean.
And he waited a week, so it's even more awkward.
So basically he's saying he had a one-night stand with this girl. I don't know what type of connection they had during this one-night stand other than, like, intercourse. But now he's like, oh, maybe she's interesting. I would like to actually date her and reach out to her again. So how does he do this, Adam?
So, first of all, mistake number one is waiting for the week. Like, if you're going to have sex with somebody, you message them straight away. Like, the next day, hey, just so I know, whatever.
Calm her
great
down.
Night. Just something to let her know that it wasn't just a one-night stand. One-night stands suck, by the way. Like, I'm so against them. Sex gets so much better the more you do it. If you're going to go through the hassle of sleeping with somebody on the same night, then you might as well go through the hassle of continuing that relationship and enjoying the relationship. Let it bloom and have lots of,
amazing sex.
Yeah, and it can be casual. You don't have to get in a relationship with somebody. However, the best way, as far as I'm concerned, to re-spark up the conversation is so powerful nowadays. Is find a picture, whether it's a meme or whether it's something that you see out and about during every day that strikes your interest, and just take the picture and send it to her and be like, hey, saw this, made me think of you, hope your week's going well.
Picture texting.
Carol, let's hear what you have to say.
I would go even further.
Best.
I would say to her exactly what he said. I would say, I've been thinking of you all.
That's what I said.
I've been thinking of you all week. That was amazing. I know we sort of skipped a step.
Yeah, we skipped a step.
And I may seem like I treated it like a booty call, but honestly, let's back up and let's have a proper date because I really think you're cool.
That's
good answer.
That's exactly it, because she's sitting there going, oh God, I hope it wasn't a one night stand, giving up hope that he's not going to call. So I don't really think. Do you guys think there's like a what?
I like what you guys are saying, but you're making a really big assumption, and the assumption you're making is that she
feels the same way,
likes him and feels the same way, and you can't know that. When you send someone the picture, you get a gauge on how she feels about it, because for her, I mean, there are women out there that just want to get it on and that's it, and they want to move on, and they're like, you know what, it was drunk, I'm going to put that down as a drunken mistake, and I'm going to go back to my boyfriend now. And she may not appreciate receiving a text that looks like that.
I don't know how I would respond if somebody sent me a picture.
Either way, you know what?
I wouldn't really like it.
Here's the deal.
I'd be like, made me think of you. Why are you thinking of me? That's the honest truth. But I guess it depends on how I felt about him. But if he said some other cheeky, sarcastic comment first and then maybe went into what Carol was saying, then I would be more engaged. So I like what Adam just said, is to see how playful she's going to be back to you. So if she doesn't respond for a day and a half, then she's not interested.
I gauge it before I do anything.
Well, but even if she only thought as a booty call too, I just see there's nothing to lose doing what I suggested. Yep. And I will tell you, the hottest chicks I know that ended up married and committed to guys had men that were like, you're it. I'm sure we're doing this. It's on. They weren't treated like the guy didn't care and the guy wasn't invested. Well, we are totally touched when a man's invested.
It's the vulnerability that we're all afraid of. That's what it is. We're all afraid of vulnerability. We're all thinking for the right thing to say. And if you think about it, Marni's thing is right, Adam's thing is right, your thing is right, Carol's thing is right. Everything is right because it all comes from everybody's authentic place, right? So we fear that authenticity. To me, it's like put out whatever you feel.
I agree.
And be honest and raw and open and vulnerable. If it doesn't work out, then you're living an honest, raw, authentic, vulnerable life. And you know what? Eventually what happens is that the universe will reward you with the most amazing, incredible woman. Be honest with who you are. And that's what I think everybody has a lot of trouble being. They're always looking for the right answer instead of the answer that feels right to them.
And beyond that, they're so worried about how the other person feels and thinks instead of really looking at themselves and how they feel. Take
what they want.
Responsibility of what you want. throw it out there and be vulnerable and authentic, and the rest doesn't matter. If she doesn't respond, oh well, moving on.
But I agree in that you don't want to be like needy, like, oh my God, I've been too afraid to contact
between
I'm terrified.
There's a difference between being emotional and expressing an emotion.
Yeah, I think what you guys will say is absolutely perfect. Like, as long as you're coming from a place of genuineness, it doesn't matter. Exactly. Like, because it's irrelevant, because you get it out there and it doesn't, whichever. Yeah,
right. Exactly. Well, that was a perfect end to our expert panel, our first ever expert panel. So I wanted to go through everybody and just say, like, who you are again, where to find you, and then we will wrap up this show.
Marni Batista, datingwithdignity.com.
I'm Adam Lyons, and I give away free advice on my YouTube channel every day, which you can find at thedatingcoach.com.
Kimberly Seltzer at eliteimageMakeovers.com.
Carol Allen, Love is in the Stars.
David Wygant, Adam Lyons' older brother. You can find me at davidwygant.com, where you will see what women really want in a free video.
Oh, there you
Gift
go.
to you, to me. Or
there
to me,
you
to,
go.
To
well,
me,
thank
to
you so
them.
much for being here, guys. And that is the end of our show. You can download new episodes of the Ask Women podcast every Thursday from podcast1.com. That's podcastone.com, or on iTunes. You can also get it. To support the show and keep us on the air, please go to wingirlmethod.com/Amazon. Buy tons of shit there. Shit you don't need, shit you want, whatever you want. Go buy it there. Buy it through our link so that we can stay on the air and keep giving you amazing advice. And we will see you next week.